Hey everyone, back again for another deep dive. And if you're here, I'm guessing you're as hooked on AI as I am.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, things are getting pretty wild out there. It feels like every time I think I've wrapped my head around the latest thing, bam, something new pops up.
Yeah, it's true. The AI world is moving at warp speed.
Yeah.
And this week, all anyone can talk about is this company called DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, yeah, they kind of came out of nowhere, right? It's like one minute nobody's heard of them, the next they're at the top of the App Store charts.
Yeah.
So is it just hype or is there something real here? That's what we're going to find out today. We've got articles, analyst reports, even some pretty heated Reddit threads. So get ready. We're diving deep into DeepSeek.
It's definitely more than hype. DeepSeek is a Chinese company, and they've been quietly making a name for themselves in the AI research world for a while now. But this launch is a big deal. It's their move into the mainstream. They've just released these two new models, R1 and V3, and everyone's trying to figure out what it all means.
Okay, so R1 and V3. And I'm seeing these numbers, billions of parameters. So break it down for me. What makes these models so special?
What's really interesting here is DeepSeek's focus on efficiency. Let's start with R1. It's got a massive 671 billion parameter model, which is just enormous, but they've managed to shrink it down using this technique called quantization. Basically, it's like compressing a huge file. It makes the model way more accessible for everyday users.
So wait a second. They're making these super complex AI models smaller so they can run on like a regular laptop.
Exactly. And that's huge. It could mean we'll see cheaper, faster, and more widely available AI tools. Imagine having an AI assistant that's as powerful as anything out there, but it runs smoothly on your phone. That's the potential we're talking about.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. But I'm also seeing some talk that DeepSeek is making some big companies nervous. I even saw that NVIDIA stock took a hit. What's the connection there?
Right, that's the ripple effect. You see, NVIDIA makes those powerful GPUs that a lot of AI relies on. And if DeepSeek's models are as efficient as they claim, you might not need as much expensive hardware to run them.
Hold on, though. I'm also reading that some analysts think DeepSeek could actually increase demand for GPUs. So how does that work? Wouldn't more efficient AI mean less need for processing power?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting. The thinking is if AI suddenly becomes cheaper and easier to use, it'll just explode in popularity. More people will be developing apps, doing research, creating art with AI, and that could lead to a surge in demand for even more powerful hardware to push the limits even further.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could go in a couple different directions. It's
Mm.
like DeepSeek's thrown a grenade into the AI world and no one's quite sure where it's going to land. But it's not just DeepSeek making moves, right? What else is happening out there? I'm trying to keep up with it all.
Oh, there's so much happening, it's hard to keep track. But one development worth noting is Alibaba's new model, Qwen 2.5. Now, this is a multimodal model, which means it can handle more than just text.
Multimodal. Okay, hold on a sec. What does that mean in plain English? I feel like I'm hearing that word everywhere these days.
Think of it this way. Most AI models we've seen so far are good at one thing, like writing text or creating images. Multimodal AI is more like a human brain. It can process different types of information, so you could show it a video and it could write a summary, translate the speech, or even create new images based on what it sees. Pretty wild, huh?
Okay, yeah, that's a whole other level. And DeepSeek is jumping into this multimodal game too, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing something about Janus Pro.
You got it. Janus Pro is DeepSeek's answer to image generation models like DAE. And from what I'm hearing, users are saying it's even more powerful, especially for handling those really complex tasks. DeepSeek seems determined to make a splash everywhere.
So we've got DeepSeek shaking things up. Other companies like Alibaba pushing the boundaries. It's definitely a lot to process. But I gotta say, scrolling through the comments, not everyone's thrilled. I'm seeing some real concerns popping up about all this AI progress. What are you picking up on?
Yeah. It's important to acknowledge those concerns. Whenever you have powerful new tech, especially something as potentially transformative as AI, people are going to worry about the downsides. And there are some big questions being raised about DeepSeek specifically.
Yeah, what are people worried about?
One big concern is censorship. DeepSeek is a Chinese company, so people are wondering about potential influence from the Chinese government and how that might affect the information these models generate. It's a complex issue, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Transparency and open discussion are going to be crucial here.
Censorship is a big one for sure. What about privacy? I'm seeing a lot of folks saying they'd rather run these models locally on their own devices instead of relying on the cloud.
That's another important point. Running a model locally gives you more control over your data, which a lot of people are understandably concerned about. But the trade-off is you might not have access to the same level of computing power as you would with a cloud-based system. It's a tough choice, and it's great that people are thinking critically about it.
And then there's the whole question of DeepSeek's pricing. They're
Mhm.
offering these incredibly powerful models at a fraction of the cost of their competitors. It's almost too good to be true. So how are they doing that? Is it sustainable? People are definitely raising eyebrows.
Yeah, I'll admit their pricing has surprised a lot of people. They've talked about using techniques like quantization and mixture of experts to make their models more efficient, which helps keep costs down. But some people are speculating about other factors like government subsidies or a strategic play to gain market share. It's definitely something to watch as their business model unfolds.
Okay, so we've got the censorship concerns, the privacy debates, the mystery of the low prices. Anything else?
Well, let's not forget the practical side of things. Even with DeepSeek's efficiency improvements, these are still massive AI models. You need a pretty powerful machine to run them effectively. I've seen people online practically begging for a "can you run it"
Yeah.
tool for large language models, something that would tell them if their computer can even handle something like DeepSeek.
That's a good point. Not all of us have access to supercomputers.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got DeepSeek's impressive debut, the ripples they're creating, the ethical concerns, and the very real practical challenges. It's a lot to take in. But here's what I'm curious about. What does this all mean for the AI community? What does this moment feel like from the inside?
What's really incredible is the energy and creativity coming from the developer community. People are already building some seriously cool tools and integrations with DeepSeek. They're pushing the limits of what's possible. It's really inspiring.
That's awesome. Can you give us some specific examples of what people are building? What's getting you excited?
Absolutely. There's this platform called LangChain that's creating a lot of buzz. People are using it to build chatbots that have memory and can even interact with external tools. Imagine an AI assistant that can access your calendar, search the web for you, and even complete tasks. That's what LangChain is making possible. And we're already seeing fascinating applications in areas like decentralized finance. Developers are using LangChain to build AI-powered tools for platforms like Aave, which is pretty amazing.
Okay, so we're moving beyond the theoretical stuff and seeing AI being used to solve real-world problems.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Exactly. And it's just the beginning. There are new aggregation systems like OpenRouter that give users access to a whole bunch of AI models, including DeepSeek R1 Qwen 2.5 and many others. It's like a one-stop shop for AI, and it's making it much easier for developers to experiment and find the right model for their needs.
That's amazing. But what about those privacy concerns we talked about? Are there ways to use these powerful models without giving up all your personal data? Because that's a big worry for a lot of people.
You're right. Privacy is a big deal. One trend we're seeing is the rise of bring your own key or BYOK strategies. Basically, it lets you encrypt your data before sending it to the AI model, so you have more control over who can access it. It's still early days, but it's a promising step in the right direction.
Okay, BYO got it. So you've got developers building chatbots, aggregating models, finding ways to protect privacy. It sounds like the AI community is really rising to the challenge. But what about DeepSeek itself? Are they just releasing these models and letting everyone figure it out on their own, or are they playing a more active role?
That's a great question. And the answer is they're definitely not just sitting back and watching. They just released their own set of AI agents, Grace, Kane, and Flows. These agents are designed to interact with the real world in even more sophisticated ways. Imagine an AI agent that can control your computer or smartphone, respond to your voice commands, and complete tasks in real time. That's the kind of capability DeepSeek is bringing to the table.
Wow, AI agents controlling our devices. This is getting seriously sci-fi. But with all this power comes responsibility, right? We talked about the concerns, but are there positive forces at play here too?
Yeah.
Is there a sense of people wanting to use this technology for good?
Absolutely. One of the most encouraging things I'm seeing is a growing emphasis on collaboration and open source development. There's a real belief in the AI community that making these tools widely available will help democratize access to AI. It could prevent it from being controlled by just a handful of powerful companies, which I think a lot of people are worried about.
Democratizing AI. I love that. But isn't there a lot of debate about open source versus the proprietary approach?
Yep.
Some companies are really protective of their models while others are all about open source. It seems like there's tension there.
You're right, there's definitely tension. It's a complex issue with good arguments on both sides. Some people say open source leads to faster innovation and lower costs and also more transparency and accountability. Others think proprietary models are necessary to protect intellectual property and make sure AI is developed responsibly. It's a tough one.
It feels like a balancing act, right? Finding ways to encourage innovation and collaboration, but also addressing those concerns about safety and control.
Exactly. And it's not just about the tech, it's about the people building and using it. There's a growing understanding that we need ethical guidelines and best practices for AI development, and we need to have open, honest conversations about its impact on society.
I couldn't agree more. This is a conversation that everyone needs to be a part of. Okay, wow, we've covered so much ground already. DeepSeek's arrival, the amazing thing other companies like Alibaba are doing, the concerns about censorship and privacy, the excitement about new tools and platforms, the debates about open source. It's clear that AI is here, it's evolving fast, and it's already changing our life in huge ways. I need a minute to catch my breath.
It's true. It's an incredible time to be following this field. As we move forward, it's more important than ever to have these conversations, to ask tough questions, and to work together to make sure AI is used to benefit everyone.
I love that. Benefit everyone. That's a great note to end this part of the deep dive on. But don't go anywhere, because we're going to keep going when we come back. We'll get into some of the specific ways DeepSeek's models are being used, the potential benefits and risks, and what it all means for the future of work and creativity. There's a lot more to explore.
I'm looking forward to it. There's so much more to uncover.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, back, and my brain is still buzzing a little from all that DeepSeek info, but hey, I'm ready for more. So, we've talked a lot about the big picture, but let's get down to brass tacks. How is DeepSeek actually being used out there in the wild? What are people doing with these models?
Well, one area where we're seeing some truly remarkable results is in the world of coding and software development. DeepSeek R1 in particular is being hailed as a game changer for programmers.
Okay, hold on. I'm intrigued but skeptical. Are you telling me this AI can actually write code, like real code that humans can use?
You heard that right. And not just simple scripts. We're talking about complex applications, intricate algorithms, even entire software frameworks. It can generate code, debug existing code, even suggest ways to make it more efficient. And get this, it's reportedly performing on par with or even exceeding models from companies like OpenAI, but at a fraction of the cost.
Whoa, that's a lot to process. This could seriously shake up the entire software industry. What about other fields? Is DeepSeek being used outside the tech world?
Absolutely. One really exciting application is in historical research. Imagine being able to analyze mountains of old documents, handwritten letters, ancient texts, even faded photographs. Researchers are using these large language models to unlock the secrets of the past in ways we never could before.
So AI is helping us understand history better. I like where this is going.
Exactly. And it's not just about transcribing the text. These models can analyze the language, identify patterns, and even generate hypotheses about historical events. It's like having a super-powered research assistant that can help historians make new discoveries.
That's incredible. I'm already thinking about all the mysteries we could solve, the lost stories we could uncover. Okay, I need more examples. This is blowing my mind. What else can these models do?
Well, let's jump to something completely different. Drug discovery. Imagine an AI that can analyze massive amounts of data, molecular structures, clinical trial results, scientific papers to help design and develop new medications. That's what's happening right now.
So AI is helping us develop new medicines. I'm starting to see a theme here. Is there anything these models can't do?
Well, it's important to remember that AI is still a relatively young field. As impressive as these models are, there are limitations. One challenge is something researchers call hallucinations.
Hallucinations. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Basically, it means the AI can sometimes generate information that's factually incorrect or even completely made up. It's like the model is getting a little too creative with the facts, but researchers are working on ways to improve accuracy and make the models more reliable.
Okay, good to know. It's a good reminder that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it needs to be used carefully and thoughtfully. We can't just blindly trust the output. We need to be critical thinkers. But let's shift gears for a minute. Earlier, we touched on this idea of multimodal AI. These models that can handle both text and images like Qwen 2.5 and Janus.
Imagine you're traveling in a foreign country and you come across a sign in a language you don't understand. With OCR, you could just point your phone at the sign and the AI could instantly translate it for you. Or picture being able to search through hours of video footage to find a specific moment or person. That's the power of these multimodal models.
That's incredible. It feels like we're on the verge of some major breakthroughs in how we interact with the world around us.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk more about how DeepSeek is actually making this happen. We touched on their focus on efficiency using things like quantization and mixture of experts to make their models smaller and faster. Can you unpack that a bit more for us? Explain it like I'm five.
Okay, think of quantization as finding clever ways to streamline the data without losing too much important information. It's like taking a huge high-resolution image and compressing it so it takes up less space but still looks pretty good. That's what they're doing with these massive AI models.
So they're making these models more compact and efficient without sacrificing too much accuracy.
Got it. What about mixture of experts? What's that all about? Imagine you have a team of specialists, each with their own area of expertise. When you have a problem, you only call on the expert who's best suited to solve it. That's kind of how mixture of experts works. It divides a large AI model into smaller, specialized modules. Only the relevant modules are activated for a given task, which makes the model more efficient and scalable.
So it's all about working smarter, not harder, using resources efficiently to get the best results. It sounds like DeepSeek is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI efficiency. But is this just a DeepSeek thing, or is this the direction the whole field of AI is heading in?
I think it's safe to say that efficiency is going to be a major focus for AI development in the coming years. As AI models become more complex and datasets continue to grow, we're going to need to find ways to make them more manageable and accessible. We can't all have supercomputers in our basements.
Exactly. And that's why what DeepSeek is doing is so important. They're not just building cutting-edge AI models, they're finding ways to make them more practical and usable for everyday people. It's about making AI more democratic and empowering more people to do amazing things with this technology. I love that. Okay, we're coming up on another break, but before we go, I have to ask, what has you most excited about the future of AI? What's keeping you up at night in a good way?
What excites me most is the potential for AI to help us solve some of the world's biggest challenges. From climate change to disease, there's so many areas where AI can make a real difference. But it's going to take collaboration, ingenuity, and a commitment to using this technology responsibly.
Well said. We have a lot of work to do, but it feels like we're on the right track. All right, we're going to take a quick pause here, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive into DeepSeek with some final thoughts on the implications of all this and what it means to the future of AI.
I can't wait. There's so much more to discuss.
Stay with us. We're back. And I don't know about you, but I'm still processing everything we've talked about with DeepSeek. It's a lot to take in. But now for the big question. What does it all mean? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Yeah, that's the heart of it, isn't it? Stepping back and looking at the big picture, I think DeepSeek's arrival is a real turning point for AI. We're moving beyond this era of big tech having all the power. It's becoming more democratic. Smaller players like DeepSeek and even individual developers can have a real impact.
So it's not just about the tech itself. It's about who has access to it and who gets to shape its future.
Exactly. And that brings us back to those important conversations about the ethical implications of AI, the concerns about censorship, privacy, responsible development. As AI becomes more accessible, those conversations are only going to get more important. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of this technology.
Absolutely. We can't just sit back and let a few companies or a handful of brilliant minds decide where AI goes. This affects all of us. And we need to be active participants in shaping its path.
I couldn't agree more. DeepSeek's story reminds us that innovation can come from unexpected places. They've shaken things up, challenged the status quo, and that's incredibly exciting to see.
Yeah, it reminds us that a good idea can come from anywhere, and we should never underestimate its power. Speaking of good ideas, let's go back to the impact on developers. We talked about all the cool things people are building with DeepSeek. But what about the bigger picture? How is this reshaping the landscape for developers? And what skills will be essential in this new era of AI?
That's the question everyone's asking, and I think a lot of developers are trying to figure that out right now. The AI field is moving so fast it's hard to keep up, let alone predict what skills will be most valuable down the line.
Yeah, it's like trying to hit a moving target.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give developers who are trying to navigate this constantly changing landscape?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious. Keep learning, and don't be afraid to experiment. The tools and technologies are constantly evolving, so adaptability and a willingness to embrace new ideas are key.
So it's not just about mastering a specific programming language or framework. It's about having a growth mindset and being a lifelong learner.
Exactly. And I think it's also crucial to develop a deep understanding of the core principles of AI, how these models actually work. The more you understand the tech, the better you'll be able to use it effectively and responsibly.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not enough to just know how to use the tools. You need to understand the underlying concepts.
Precisely. Another key skill will be the ability to bridge the gap between the technical and human aspects of AI. As these models become more powerful and more a part of our lives, We'll need people who can explain those complex technical concepts in plain language and who can design AI systems that are both effective and user-friendly.
That's so important. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we use it to improve our lives and solve real-world problems. It's about making AI work for us.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm so optimistic about the future of AI. I think we're on the verge of a new era of innovation and creativity, where AI can be used to tackle some of the world's toughest challenges and unlock incredible new possibilities.
Okay, so we've talked about curiosity, adaptability, a deep understanding of AI, and the ability to bridge the gap between technology and humanity. Any other words of wisdom for our listeners as they embark on their own AI adventures?
Don't be afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and think critically about what this technology means. AI is a powerful tool, and it's up to all of us to make sure it's used for good.
I love that. Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into DeepSeek. We've explored its rise, the latest developments in the AI world, and what it all means. But as always, we want to leave you with something to think about, a question to spark your own curiosity and exploration. So here it is. With AI evolving so rapidly, what role do you want to play in shaping its future? What skills do you want to develop? What problems do you want to solve? What kind of world do you want to create with this incredible technology? Take some time to reflect on that. And let's continue this conversation in the future.
Those are the questions that matter. Explore them, engage with the conversation, and be an active participant in shaping the future of AI.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a wrap on our deep dive into DeepSeek. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey of discovery. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.